Good day everyone. In today's tutorial, we are going to discuss and demonstrate how to do logical comparison in Microsoft Excel. And we shall be focusing on the ifs, and the IFERROR function. We are going to discuss how to compare two values in Excel, how to check whether one or two conditions are met, and how to eliminate or replace error statements in your worksheet. So endeavor to watch this video to the end in order to gain the full knowledge of what we are discussing today. My name is Olani Ishofunwa, and I am your tutorial master on this channel. If you are here to subscribe to this channel, kindly do so now. Don't forget to like, share, and leave your comment below. To demonstrate these functions, we are going to make use of the sales table that we have on our screen. And to start with, we are going to consider the if function. The if function allows you to make logical comparison between two values. And in the case of this table, the first task is to check if 2007 sales is better than 2006 sales. So what we are going to do is to call our if function. And the first syntax in the if function is the logical test. And the logical test that we want to carry out in this particular exercise is to compare 2007 to 2006 sale. So we're going to say sale in 2007. If the sale in 2007 is greater than that of 2006, then we want the output to be good. But if the sale in 2007 is not greater than that of 2006, then the output should be bad. So you can see, and if we check this table, we can see from here that it's only the sale of cabinet, that is the sale of cabinet is bad because the sale in 2007 is less than that of 2006. And the case of blender also, the sales in 2007 is less than that of 2006. So from here, we can see that, but the rest of the items, the sale in 2007 is better than that of 2006. So this is how to use the if function to compare two datas and to know which one is better, and for it to output whatsoever we program or we put into the output syntax. So the next task that we are asked to do here is to compare the sale of cabinet in 2006 and 2005. So when we look at the sale of cabinet in 2006 and 2005, we can as well use the if function. So we can either compare whether the sale of cabinet is greater in 2006 compared to 2005 or otherwise. So if we call in our if function, the logical test for the cabinet is to check, okay, is the sale of 2006, is it greater than that of 2005? So if it is true, then we said to compare the sales, in that case, we can say that good sales, we can say that good sales, put in the quotation mark, good sales in 2006. But if the sale is bad, then we can say bad sales in 2006. So from here, we can see that based on the task that we have a good sales of cabinet in 2006 because the sales in 2006 is greater than that of 2005. So this is how to use the if function and how we can customize the output to whatsoever we want it the output to look like. Then the next thing that we want to talk about is the ifs function. And the ifs function, we use the ifs function to check whether one or more conditions are met. And that is, if we have two conditions, the ifs function is such that it will output only the first condition that is true. That is, if we have two conditions, if the first condition is true and the other one is false, then the ifs function will output the true condition. If the first condition is false and the second condition is true, the ifs function will output the second condition that is true. But if both of the functions are false, then the ifs function will output an error. So let's demonstrate how the ifs function looks like. In the task, it said I check whether the sales is increasing from year to year. That is, we want to see whether the sales in 2006 is greater than that of 2005, or whether the sales in 2007 is greater than that of 2006. So let's call in our ifs function. So the first logical test is to check whether the sale in 2007 is greater than that of 2006. If that is true, then we output true. The second logical test is to check whether the sales in 2006 is greater than that of 2005. If that is true as well, we say to differentiate the output, we say good. So in this case, okay, fine. In this case, we can see that in the first, when we consider the logical test, the first test is if 2007 is greater than 2006, and we can see that in the case of table, chairs, and bed, the sales in 2006 is greater than that of the sales in 2007 is greater than that of 2006. That is why we have true. But in the case of cabinets, we can see here that the sales in 2007 is not greater than 2006, but the sales in 2006 is greater than that of 2005. That is where we output good, because we know that good is the output for the second condition. So cabinet shows that the first condition is false, but the second condition is true. That is why it outputs good. But when we now come to Blender, when we see from the Blender, it shows error, and that is because the sales in 2007 is not greater than that of 2006. Likewise, the sales in 2006 is not greater than 2005. So that means we have two false conditions, and that is why the output is error. So don't forget that if statement, we only output the first condition that is true. And that is what we see that is what we can see from the result on our screen. So the second task is to confirm if the sale of Blender increases or decreases from year to year. Now we want to see the case of Blender. We can see that the case of Blender, if it can, at least from this task, we can see that if the case of Blender increases or decreases. So the first condition that we set is to see that is it increasing from 2007 to 2006? That is false. Is it increasing from 2006 to 2005? That is false. But now let's turn the condition the other way around. That's okay. Ifs. You now want to check that is the sale in 2007 less than 2006? So we will say the condition is less. Then also, is the sale in 2006 less than 2005? If that is true, we will say greater sales in 2005. So from here, we can see that in this case now, the first condition that we set is that is the sales of Blender in 2007 less than 2006, which is less. So as you can see that which shows less. That is, the first condition is true. But the second condition also is the sales in 2006 less than 2007. That condition is also true. But like we said, that each function we output the first condition that is true. So since the first condition is true, that is why we have the first true. That's why we have less as the first condition. So this is how to use the ifs function to compare different conditions, and it will output the first condition that is true. In the case of IFERROR, IFERROR is a very important function that we all need to understand how to use in Microsoft Excel. And that IFERROR helps us to beautify or fine-tune or to remove any error from our data. As we can see in this particular table, we can see that here we can see different errors in this table. But we don't want this error to spoil or to disfigure our data. So that is where we now use the if error. So the if error will tell us that if there is an error, replace that error with something else. So in this case, you can say that, okay, you can say that if error, let's recall the function if error. So the value in column so if column E, if the case of table is error, then I want it to output check. So when we scroll down, we can see that here in column F, we've succeeded in eliminating the error sign from our data. So instead of having the error, what we have is check. So we can customize the output of our error message to be whatsoever text that we want it to be. In this case, we use check. That is, if Excel encounter error in our data, replace the error with check, and that is what it did automatically. So this is how we can automate our data and remove any error from it. So the last one that we want to see is that in this case also we have this division that 4 divided by 0, it gives a division error, but we don't want this error to show as well. So what we can do is that we can also apply our IFERROR function. So we can say 4 divided by 0. So instead of showing division error, we want it to show wrong data. So we can see that instead of us having a division error, we have succeeded in replacing it with wrong data. And that is how we can use our IFERROR function. In this case also, we said that 5 divided by this empty space also give a division error. Instead of having a division error, we don't want to see any error in our data. So we use the IFERROR. So if what we are telling Excel is that if you encountered error in this calculation, that is 5 divided by empty space, if peradventure you encounter an error, I don't want to see error, rather replace it with that use good data. So in this case, we were able to demonstrate how to eliminate error from our data. This IFERROR is very important and for us to use in our data to clean up our data and makes our data looks more professional.
Thank you for watching this video to the end, and I believe that you have learned how you can effectively apply any of these functions for your data analysis. Enough of scanning through your data to compare them or to manually delete the site of error from your data. You can automate these tasks with any of these functions in Microsoft Excel. So, what are you waiting for? Just apply the knowledge that you learned in today's tutorial in your own data. And before you go, don't forget to check other video tutorial that is available on this channel in order to refresh your Excel skill or to learn about new function in Microsoft Excel. And as you are doing this, leave a comment and share any of these videos to your family, friends, and colleagues so that they too can learn. And if you are new and you are yet to subscribe to this channel, you can do it now. Yes, there's a subscribe button down below. Just click on the subscribe button and put on the notification bell so that you will be aware when we are starting the next tutorial class. Thank you once again and see you in the next class.